Please be aware that everything that I show you in all of these precious metal recovery videos involves some level of danger. In the recovery and refining videos, dangers are going to be mostly related to working with corrosive acids, which also give off fumes, especially when reacting with certain metals. And so you want to either do all of this stuff outside or in a well ventilated location. If you're doing it inside, you really need a fume hood of some description. And when for gold melting and stuff like that, your risks are going to be mostly heat related, so risk of burning. Whatever you do, always make sure you've got adequate personal protection equipment. Okay, here we go.
Okay, so this is the melting part of the gold recovery / refining video, and I've seen a few melting videos, and a lot of them do quite a good job of showing you what to do, but they don't actually tell you what not to do. So I thought I'd just quickly make a little video here. It's not going to be that much different from any other melting video, but hopefully I can shed a bit of light on what some people might be doing wrong. So I started trying to melt gold powder by using a graphite crucible, which is one of the little black crucibles, and I would put that inside a little gas-fired kiln where I would just run one or two of these MAPP gas torches into, and I tried to melt my gold powder that way, and it was an absolute disaster. So what would happen is you don't have very good control and good visibility about what's going on. So I ended up with a lot of my gold in a very fine form caught up in borax rather than as one nice round bead. So what I recommend now is to use these tools and the procedure that I'm going to show, and it definitely does work quite well. Hopefully we'll see at the end of this video. So things you'll need are a crucible that has been fluxed with borax. So you can see how shiny the inside of this one is. The reason for this is that I have when you buy them, they just look ceramic-y like that. It's and then you heat it up until it starts a very dull red glow. So you heat it up slowly and then go faster and faster until you get a nice red glow in it, and then you just drop a little bit of anhydrous borax all around it, and that will pretty much instantly, it looks like it foams up a bit, but that dies down pretty quickly as long as you use the anhydrous borax. And you just go ahead and you just drop a little bit of the powder all over the inside, and it ends up looking like that. This one's actually been used a few times for melting now, and so you can see it's there's a few tiny little cracks in it, but they shouldn't cause us too much trouble. Okay, so you're going to need a crucible. I recommend one of these white ceramic type crucibles. Don't use a graphite crucible. What they do is they draw the heat away too well, whereas these ceramic ones, and you can kind of see by the size of my hand, I'm going to guess that that's probably about 2 inches across, maybe a little bit more, maybe 60 millimeters or so across, and I don't know, probably about 3/4 of an inch deep maybe, and quite a thick one, so that's probably about 40 millimeters or so. Oh, maybe a bit less, maybe about an inch. Anyway, the point is it's that kind of shape and size. It's got a nice flat bottom, so it sits. I'm working straight on the concrete workshop floor. I am melting inside the workshop. I have got the doors and things open. There shouldn't be too many poisonous gases and things coming off this, but you want to try and keep your heat contained. So other things you'll need, just quickly, is just a container with some cold water to quench your gold nugget when you're finished. MAPP gas with a torch. I'm using a Bernzomatic TS-8000 torch, which is nice because it's got adjustable flow. That's what I like about this one. Got some borax powder, got my gold powder there, and that's been dried, and you'll see it's pretty free flowing, which is nice because you're going to be pouring it into the crucible. And I've got a tweezer to grab the the molten bead. Now I'm also wearing eye protection. I'm just wearing some jeans for my pants. I'm sitting on the floor and wearing some. They're not welding gloves or anything. Really, I don't touch anything hot. Just sometimes I find that it's nice to just kind of rotate the crucible like that while I'm heating, rather than move around myself. I can just rotate the crucible with my finger, and using just these kind of working gloves works absolutely fine for that. Welding gloves take away too much dexterity for me to do the job that I have to do here. Okay, so I'll just set up on the tripod and then get started, and it's going to take a while, but I'll try and talk as I go so it doesn't get too boring. Just try and explain what I see, but I'm going to zoom in pretty much on the crucible to try and give you some idea of what's happening. Okay, we'll be back now. Okay, so on a lowish flame I'm going to start preheating the crucible. This is going to take a while, so I might cut a bit of it out. Maybe what I would recommend is I'll post a whole video and you just forward at this point, because I want you to be able to get an idea, if you want to, about how long the real process actually takes, without having to put a timer in the background or something like that. So we're just going to spend some time now and heat up this crucible. You'll know when you're ready to go, because the borax will start having a little bit of a melty look to it. Hard to explain if you've never done this for yourself, but pretty easy to see if you do it for yourself. Now I found that one of the things with these torches you want to do is you want to keep them at a bit of an angle going into this bowl. If you put it straight in like that, especially later on, what will happen is the gas reflecting off the inside actually tends to put the flame out a little bit, and it kind of causes some problems. So I tend to keep it at about an angle like you see there. Now when you're starting to heat it up, I mean it's obviously it's got a bit of a shine to it, as you can probably see in the camera. I'm just going to start increasing the gas a bit, and it's going to get a bit loud as well, so I'll have to talk up. See, I go all around it, try and heat the whole thing up nice and evenly, trying to prevent it from cracking. A little bit more gas. Now see there what I mean about the flame not working nicely if you're too close. Just come on an angle like that. It works much better. Now we can test the heat of our crucible by just adding a tiny little bit of borax in, and this will also give you an idea of what happens. See that it's fizzing away. Okay, so crucible's getting hot. Might give it a little bit more. It pays not to be in too much of a hurry with this game. Give it a little bit of a rotate with my finger there. As you can see, the ceramic insulating is working fairly well. It doesn't just turn your finger into flame instantaneously. This is also quite a nice job to do when it's a bit cold outside, because you do get a bit of heat from the flame. covering up a little cracked patch in the crucible there with some borax. Okay, so we're warm enough there now. Going to pour in the gold powder, try and get it centralized, try and keep it in one nice, just go slow, don't want to pour it out. This is quite a fair bit of gold, might be a couple of grams here, a few grams probably. Okay, so I've got most of it out. Now, turn your flame as low as it will go, and just start heating around the edges of the gold. You don't want to, it is possible to oxidize gold powder when it's this fine. You don't want to blow it away and you don't want to oxidize it. As soon as we've done this for a little bit, you'll see it'll form a little bit of a skin on it. It's hard to see on the video, but it doesn't just blow away very easily eventually. So we're just going to heat the powder up a little bit and give it a tiny bit more. See how I'm pointing it away from the gold while I'm adjusting the flame, and we're just going to give it a little bit of heat over the surface. You can actually see the gold is already starting to glow red. Not sure if it's going to be very visible on the camera. I might try and zoom while I'm there we go. It's not very easy to see, and because it conducts really well, as soon as I take the torch away, the redness goes as well. But in the middle of the flame there, it's definitely going a bit red and forming a bit of a crust, and the little atoms are starting to kind of mold together. So just zoom out a bit again, so we're a bit more centralized. Oops, there we go. Okay, so once you've started heating it up a little bit, just slowly increase your gas and just work it around the outside of the gold. If you like, you can rotate it a little bit. Make sure you get all the gold from all sides. There'll be a few little stragglers on the sides at this point, which is not the end of the world. You'll find once everything gets molten, and we're going to put a little bit of borax on top of it, those seem to roll down into the main bead, no problem. And you can, when it all goes molten, you can push it around a bit with the pressure from the gas as well. Okay, so I'm going to go up a little bit more. This is probably getting to about a third of the total output of the flame of the gas now. Try not to touch the sides of the crucible with the tip of your torch, because it sticks a bit to the molten borax in the crucible, because it's I think it's brass or stainless steel or something. It actually cools down the borax, and then your tip can get stuck there. Get a bit of a rotate. Increase my gas a little bit more. So I might be up to about half of the total output gas pressure now. sure this can be done a fair bit faster than I'm doing it, but I tend to take it a bit slow. It's a fair few dollars worth of gold that's in there at the moment. Up a little bit more gas pressure. Going up a little bit more in gas pressure there. Okay, so we're probably at about 3/4 of total gas pressure there. You can see the surface of the gold start to melt now. So I can see the powder underneath. It is glowing red, but I can see it's got a different look to the molten surface. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pour a little bit of, it's starting to melt, so we'll give it like a pinch of borax over the gold. And we'll go 100% gas pressure. And it seems like it's never going to melt, but just be patient. especially when you're melting a few grams at a time like this. So we're starting to go molten now. I know it's very bright in there, so it's really hard for you to see anything. So we're turning into a ball now. Okay, and now we've got floating in there a perfectly round sphere of gold. I'm going to turn the flame off now. Let me just zoom in a bit for you. You can see it in the middle there. Okay, and there you have it. That's what it looks like. Now we wait for it to solidify. And then what we're going to do is just dump it straight in the water next door, because we want to firmly shock the borax coating that's on there. I think that might be solid enough. Oops, now I've stuffed it up. There we go. And you can hear the clinking where it cracks the borax coating that's on both sides of it now, unfortunately, because I kind of tipped it over while I was in there. Let's cool down the tweezers. Borax is not a problem though. It can be fairly easily dealt with by just boiling your gold button in water for a while, and it will clean that right up. Also probably a nice idea afterwards to chuck it in some nitric acid, but there we go. I can probably, I can get rid of quite a lot of the borax by just watching. And that is a substantial amount of gold right there. There we go. And the top surface hasn't come out that great because I tipped it over. You can see what the bottom looks like. Very nice. Got a little bit of inclusion, which they always seem to have. Yeah, so let's, oops. Geez, dropping my gold. That is essentially how I melt my gold. So yeah, please feel free to comment if there's anything that you think I can improve, or alternatively, hopefully this was helpful to someone. Cool.